Evo, sad sam razgovarao s gospodinom Embacherom. Ona dolazi iz Austrije. Znamo da je Austrija simbol za sve što je zeleno. I mislio sam ga pitati, ako gospođe prevoditeljice, kojima bi se ja beskrajno zahvalio na trudu danas, molim vas pljesak za njih dvije, cijelo jutro su tu, svaka im čast. Znači, Hans Embacher će pričati o održivosti kao ključnom čimbeniku za uspjeh agroturizma. Znamo da je Austrija toliko zelena da nam je dosadno koliko je zelena. Međutim, bio sam u šoku kad su oni u Klagenfurtu preorali nogometno igralište i stadion koji košta milijune i milijune eura i napravili zelenu površinu. Za Boga, zašto ste to učinili? Mi u Hrvatskoj vapimo za jednim takvim stadionom. Je li moguće da vam treba još zeleno kad ste toliko zeleni? Do you understand? Okay, welcome. Thank you. Why?
Thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation. Well, the stadium in Klagenfurt is a football stadium again. Although it's green, but it's still a football stadium, but they did make it green. Thank you very much for the invitation. I love discussion and learn what others do and think, and also hear what the European Commission thinks about. It's always interesting for us. And as I understand it from the speakers before me, you have invited all the Croatia guests here. So also with our children, we spent practically all our summer holidays in Croatia. So I see we find all the guests here. And to give you an idea when this was, my older son has his 30th birthday today. So it's in my big, thank you. It's not my work. But this gives us a reason to work for sustainability in Croatia, that we can spend these holidays for a much longer time. Our project in Austria, Farm Holidays in Austria, we are a part of an EU project. We are in rural development, so our job is to create jobs and economic activity. When Silvia Nanni said before, some of the stakeholders of the European subsidies are struggling, we are struggling as well. Not with our work, but with the administration, unfortunately. But this is not the issue today. Basically, things are interesting. I'm happy to share our experiences here, which we have as an organization, because we strongly believe that the individual enterprise doesn't really have a chance on the market. They need to work together and need to follow a strategy together. As we've heard before, the idea is a better perspective, better future. That's what we work for. In Austria, we have a master plan tourism, which says Austria always wants to be first. I'm sure that's different from other countries. Austria wants to become the most sustainable destination in the world. It's always measured. At the moment, we are, I don't know, number 6 or 7. And it's whatever they measure, we want to be first. Similar, our strategy for farm holidays, of course, has in mind what we want. We want to be the most meaningful, who doesn't want to be that, most sustainable and most regional holiday product in Austria. So this helps us with our orientation as the many members work together. What do we see as sustainable in our work? Farm holidays are an attractive, valuable part of the Austrian holiday product. This is very important because this is what we sell. We believe that people don't book sustainability. They don't come to us because we say we are sustainable. They come because farm holidays is beautiful, they meet the people, they like the countryside. So this is an important issue. Of course, the income. As you know, sustainability has the 3 elements: the ecological sustainability, economical, and social. So here we talk about the economic issue. Our members are an important link between tourism and agriculture. At the moment in Austria, this is particularly important because we have strong discussion about the acceptance of tourism. We heard about this before, over-tourism and these things. So our members are in the agricultural sector and also in tourism. So they understand both sides. So they are important for the acceptance of tourism in Austria as well. Okay, contribution to also sustainable tourism development. Our members need less built infrastructure. We don't need to build huge hotels or something. The farms are there. And we are a valuable source of information and education for many, many children. On our farms per year, we have about 500,000 children who learn about life. They learn where food comes from. They learn, well, how farming works. So this is one part of social sustainability which we think is important. As we've heard before from Professor Smolcic-Giordana, an important orientation, like guideline, are these Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs of the United Nations. And I will mention that later. We work with subsidies, and whenever we supply for the subsidies, we are always asked, which contributions do you give, do you bring towards those SDGs? So for us, this is great because we have this idea we contribute to almost all of them. Before she identified 5, we identified even more. But this is an important orientation for us. These we've heard before. Here also we create income, but also, which she did not mention, for example, life on land. It strengthens, farm holiday strengthens the rural regions, and to say it bluntly, the people who live in the cities bring their money to the people in the countryside and leave it there voluntarily. So they do it happily, they're not forced by taxes or something. So we think this is a good example of life on land and also reduce inequality. Also, cooperation is important. In our case, we see that our work only functions like this because there is a lot of cooperation. By pursuing all this, I have the impression we achieve exactly what, Sylvia, what you said before, what the EU looks as goals for the future for rural regions, to make the rural regions more prosperous, stronger, resilient, and connected. I love it. This is so good what you found out, because we have this idea this is exactly what we do. So our next subsidies are coming along. We have to speak. No, that's why we are also closely connected, of course, with politics. And here you see an example of a farm in Austria. Maybe it's quite different from that what we heard this morning, for example, from Kazakhstan. Our farms are quite big, quite spacious, because in the last century they had staff, they had men and women working on the farms. So the big farms are still there, the buildings. We have the attractive landscape. So all the surrounding is attractive for the guests. Luckily, in Austria, we also have a winter season. We have no sea, but we make about 1/3 of our overnights in the winter season. And as others have said as well, most important for the guests in Austria in general, but especially on farm holidays, is the countryside. 80% of the guests to Austria say they come for the countryside. So the farms are in the middle of that. And here you see the farmers in the west of Austria. As you understand, maybe you have similar regions in Croatia. You will not earn a lot of money by working a farm like this. And most of these people in these valleys have farm holidays as well as an additional form of income. I mentioned the association before. We have 2,300 members with about 27,000 tourist beds, so it's not small. 50% repeat business, which helps us a lot, because this means as an association, we only have to fill the second 50%. So if they have repeat customers, which maybe come through us as well, it takes a bit of stress away. On average, the farms have 12.5 guest beds, so on tourism terms, they are very small. What I also like is the length of stay, almost 6 days, so people stay much longer on the farms, much longer, but they stay, on average, they stay longer than they would stay in hotels. And we also think one KPI for sustainability is that we convince the people to make longer holidays. We try to reduce the short break holidays. Of course, they are attractive, but in terms of sustainability, they are not very sustainable if people, I don't know, drive 5, 6, 7 hours for 2 days holidays. We mentioned before, a key to success is cooperation. Here you see our organization, or a picture of our organization. In the middle, you see the Farm Holidays Association. So there on the national level, there is me and my colleagues in the office. We work closely together in marketing with the Austrian National Tourist Office, also with provincial tourism organizations, because they are perfect in marketing. We use them for marketing in the not German-speaking markets, like Poland. I spoke to a colleague yesterday. Hungary, wherever, Netherlands. So their tourism is important. On the other side, where the target is the providers, the farms, we work closely together with the ministry, with the Chamber of Agriculture, and we could not achieve what we reach with the work without those cooperation partners. We also have, thanks to the European Union, a so-called strategic partner, because we get subsidies on cooperation, which is nice. And our strategic partner is the Bio Austria. That's the organization of organic farmers in Austria. So we do a lot of work together with them in marketing as well as in development. And this is ideal because about 1/3 of our farmers are organic farmers anyway. So it makes sense that we also have a close cooperation with their organization. So here we do a lot of marketing, which we'll explain a bit later. But also, for example, we have innovation, how do you call that? Wettbewerb, contests. Like this year, the main issue is architecture, with a special prize on building with wood. So we like that it's interesting. There are new things and new buildings, and we love it. In the last innovation competition, the issue was sustainability. Well, what are the individual strengths of our farms? Small personal enterprises. You meet the local people. This is a great chance for visitors, and it's much easier to meet local people on the farm than it would be, for example, in a hotel. First-hand farming experience. As the farmers become less, this will become a scarce resource. In Austria, just to give you an idea, statistically, every day, 13 farms close their doors. So I cannot imagine as a normal citizen that every day 13 farmers stop working. So there will be less and less. So it will be interesting for the people, also for the parents and children, to show them what agriculture does. Farming produced directly from the farmer, we will look at this, and ecological farming produce. And of course, a very important trend, authentic holiday experience. So people want to experience the real thing, and we say it has to be a living farm. It's not Disneyland or something which we offer. So to prove this, here you have the example. You meet the local people. You get the produce from the farmers. They market a lot of farming produce. About half of the average spend stays on the farms, so about 300 to 400 million euros of the customers stay with the farmers, directly with the farmers. And also very important for agriculture, that we have every year, we have about 1.5 million consumers of farming produce on the farm. So this is an extremely important resource for the Austrian farming industry, that they have the customer at first hand, so to speak. There is maybe another interesting issue. The Austrian Ministry of Agriculture at the moment works on a new vision, 2028 plus. And all production lines of farmers have been asked about the future. And we were very happy and proud that those with farm holidays were the most optimistic of all. So the least or the lowest number of them want to give up the farm, and when they were asked, they were more optimistic than all the other forms of farming, like, I don't know, milk, sheep, cows, you name it. So this also makes us believe that people have good chances there. Okay, transparent production, I've explained before. This is an example of a farm in Tyrol, in the west of the Tyrol. This is the first 5 flower farm. We categorize the farms with flowers instead of stars. So it's a high quality farm. And interesting, this farmer has a sawmill, a one-man sawmill, which is quite unusual. And you can see this on his apartments. He builds these himself with his own hand and his own work. And on this, I can explain something else. Up to a few years ago, our people spent a lot of money that everything looked new. And now they spend even more money that everything looks old. So this is an example. This is brand new, but the guests love it somehow. As an Austrian, I don't really need it, but so I prefer comfortable and spacious room, unique comfort and quality. Farm's traditional style, very important. Again, sustainability needs the people. And here we notice we have a big problem. Again, I come back to European Union and others. Everybody wants assessments, wants controlled quality, and we see our members hate it. They don't like the bookkeeping, they don't like to be controls. I understand they are sustainable, we like to believe they are, but they don't want any additional work. So this is quite a problem which we have. We have several tools to measure sustainability. They don't participate. They say, look at us, we are sustainable. We don't want to count and measure our electricity and measure our whatever consumption. Take us as we are. And we have a serious problem because the hotels prove by figures that they're really sustainable. And as it looks, they are more sustainable than we are, as our people don't like to bring the proof, which is a bit of a problem, as you may understand. Again, he works with his own resources here. He would, just to give you a practical example, he lost almost all his wood in this Orkan storm Kirill in 2007, and he used the chance. He built an apartment with the wood he had, those little wooden pieces which he uses for the children and for his guests. And I was impressed before to hear this morning this example about the efforts which you have in Croatia about fire protection. At the moment in Austria, this is not such a big problem, but all the best and good luck with that. Another example for farming produce is wine, and again, direct selling of the wine on the farm. So this belongs together. With the direct sellers of the farming, we have an app together where you actually find the farming produce and the accommodation on the farm in one app, and you can book directly if you like your accommodation. Okay, this is standard, you will know this. In marketing, we go from inspiration to the booking. What else? What do we need? On top, television, a lot of Austrian National Tourist Office, and then we go to the straight booking. Where do the guests come from? About 80% come from Austria and Germany. This is almost the same in practically all the European countries, that rural tourism and farm holidays is domestic tourism. So in Germany, they come from Germany, in France, from France, and so on. And in Austria, Austria and Germany are similar, same language. So if we count the two together, we are standard again. But, this is interesting, 80% from 2 countries, but on our online booking system, we have people from 97 countries. So online bookings we have from all over the world, but altogether they count for about 10%. So it's not a huge number. And it's interesting, in the last years, once we had 99 countries, we never reached 100. I don't know why. Maybe it's the statistics. Maybe it's this problem that the statistic doesn't count 100. In the world, there are 180 countries, and I would love to see 100 on our farms, 97, 99, always similar. How do we know? How do we do this? In marketing, very important, sustainability needs modern technology. This is our channel management. Through that, we have all the data of our member farms. All the online booking goes through that. Our bookings, but also the bookings for Booking.com, for Airbnb, and so on. It helps our members because they don't have double bookings, and they only have to update the data once. So we do practically their back office work for them. And for us, it's wonderful because we have them all, how shall I say that, under control with one button. This means we can negotiate with Booking.com, with Airbnb, and with these people as one group. If you don't have this, it's much more difficult. It also helps if we do projects with the Austrian National Tourist Office because they see us as one big group who has the data together. What comes out towards the end, these are the visits on our platform. To give you an idea, per day we have between 5,000 and 6,000 visitors on the platform, which means every hour about 500. What does it bring to the farm? On average, statistically, we bring the farmer 20 contacts per day, on average. Some more, some less. But on average, 20 contacts per day. This means 20 chances to make a booking. But he has to do it. We also know from our research that our guests look on average on 10 farms before they do a booking. So we tell the farmer, well, you want the booking from us, but you are in challenge with 9 others. So if they book with you, or with you, this is your job. So we bring you the contact, and, well, you have to do a presentation that you get the booking. This is the online booking turnover. Also increasing very well, about 50% from the 2,300, about 1,200 are effectively online bookable. The others are not. Some will never be. Well, the next generation will be. So half of them are online bookable. The turnover develops very well. And this is all, 26 million. About 1/3 is bookings that we bring. There are also bookings which are made directly on the homepage of the farm. There is no commission. We charge 9%. And 2/3 of the turnover are from external platforms. The biggest one, obviously, Booking.com. And for us, this is great because we see how Booking.com performs. If my internet colleague comes to me and says, Hans, wonderful, plus 10%, my question is always, how is Booking doing? And if he says, well, they have 15 to 20%, I have to say, Marco, where is the success? I mean, if the others are better than we are. So it's good to have the figures and to see how the development goes. Right, I come to the end. The financial, economical side. I said before, the individual farm doesn't have a chance on the market, but as a corporation, they do. This is the development of price and load factor over the 30 years we're working together. The price, they have increased in this time by about 300%, and the accumulated inflation in the same time is about 120%. So on average, they increased the price by double the inflation, which is great. And we have no other field in agriculture where they achieve or where they have the same freedom to decide what they do, and they have the success in their own hand. I mean, prices for milk and meat is very much set unless they do direct selling. Load factor increases slowly, but in general, they are highly profitable. And the last question, of course, which we always have, as there are people from the ministry here as well and from the European Union, is always the question, are the subsidies cost effective? I mean, we spend a lot of subsidies and this is like charity. And we say, no, 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 no. This is not charity. So I made a little calculation. If our members, when we started 91 until today, 23, had increased the price every year by the inflation. When we started, they didn't even do that. They said, oh, we cannot increase the price every year. We have families, and they have poor families. They only have BMWs and nice cars, but they have no money, you know. So if they had increased the price just by the inflation, the price would be 28 euro and 30. But the real price is 53 euros. So we say the 24.80 on top of this inflated price has something to do with our work. So as we do branding, as we do the quality work, as we do the marketing, they are more successful. And the additional value, if we multiply this with the number of overnights we have, about 2.5 million, it comes out an added value per year of about 60 million euros. And a few years ago, I said to our minister, lieber Andre, you give us 1.5 million subsidies. It's a lot of money. But out of that, you get 60 million added value. This is a good deal, isn't it? And he says, okay, it's a good deal. You get the subsidies again. So as you see, we try very often to calculate the figures and to prove somehow it's not the 60, it can be 50 or 62, it doesn't matter. But we have to prove that what we get is well invested, let's put it in that way. Okay, so far so good. Sorry it took a bit too much time of you. Thank you very much.